G'day and welcome back to Foord Off-Road. This is a special episode for me because I'm finally going to show you what is under the tarp. 6 litres of LS power. That's right, it is an LS. Sorry for everyone who wanted a Barra in it, but it is an LS engine. So what we have is a L98 6 litre Holden Commodore engine. It was in VESS's from 06 to 2010, and it made 355 horsepower and 380-ish foot-pounds of torque.
Wow, you can read the brochure.
It's not going to make that in a patrol with 35 different diff gears and weighing a lot more than the Commodore did, but it's going to move it along a bit faster than the TD42 did. So an L98 6 litre Holden engine is a version of the LS2 6 litre. It basically has the same block as an LS2, but it has rectangle port heads the same as the LS3. They're not the same heads that are on the LS3, but that's like a step forwards from the LS2. So now what I'm going to do, I've already pulled it down. I'll play a clip of that now.
You've been riding with your head stuck out the window, and it's alright if I don't see it till the cops clear up tomorrow. You're doing fine, you're trying all the things you told your mom you never would. Just keep in mind that there's a price to pay for all the things that feel good. Don't burn out the light. Don't burn out the light. It's alright if you wake up to find the silvers on your window, 'cause I don't mind posting bail if you can pay me back tomorrow. Just take some time to think of all the things you're messing up for everyone, and keep in mind that living slow, you know, don't always mean you're no fun. Don't burn out the light. 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 'Cause it could really be something. It could really be something. It could really be something. It could really be something.
So I pulled that apart probably 2 months ago. I've had this engine sitting here for a while. I don't get much time in the shed. What I'm going to do today is replace the rocker cover gaskets, the intake manifold gasket, valley gasket, front timing seal gasket and crank gasket. I'm going to do the back as well, but I'm going to wait till it's on the engine crane ready to go in the engine, because I don't have the crane here, so I can't change it while it's attached to the engine stand. Also going to change the sump out and just clean it up a bit, make it look all pretty, ready to go into the car. So let's get into that. The gaskets here I'm going to change on the LS. I don't have all of them. There is still some that I might need inside the front timing cover. Anyway, I've got valley cover gasket, intake manifold gaskets. They're on these, they're just like a rubber insert. They're not a actual steel or cork gasket. 2 rocker cover gaskets, front timing cover gasket, new crank bolt and some new water pump gaskets, a rear main seal plate which is going to go on. That's not going to go on today. I'm going to put that on when I've got the car supported by an engine crane, so I can actually get to the back, because I can't get to the back while it's on the stand. I'm going to put the Marks Adapters sump on, which is modified for clearance to the diff and the steering arm, so punch a hole in it, which has a different dipstick, modified oil pickup, and also one of these little things, which, see, that's only got one hole to hold it in, which over time it can pull up like that and you don't get full oil pressure, so this just goes around and holds both sides down so that it can't pull up and makes it better. Anyway, first thing I'm going to do is cover it in degreaser and then cover it in carby cleaner. Try and clean everything off a little bit before I pull it apart. So let's do that. Take the sump off. I've already drained the sump, so there's no oil in it. There'll be a little bit what's dripped down in that time. I'm expecting there'll be a little bit anyway. So I'm not going to tip it over to take it off. I'm going to take it off this way, I think, just so if there is any in there, it doesn't fill up the engine again. So it's just a series of 10mm. Okay, now that the sump's off, I'm just going to take the intake manifold off, the throttle body, and the rocker covers. How good are these things? Whoever invented these is an absolute legend. Very light intake manifold, mainly because it's plastic, but that's really light. Not going to replace lifters in this either. That's something that's a lot of people do when they chuck them in or when they've got the engine in the car. I don't want to have to pull the heads off, so I'm not going to do that. If I put it in the car and it ticks and it's got a lift tick, then yeah, I'll pull it back out and put chuck a set of LS7 lifters in it. But I'm just going to see if it needs it before I go to that extent. So we'll just replace these gaskets for now. There we go. It does form quite a tight seal on there. Once you take the valley cover off, you can actually see the camshaft and see the ends of the lifters. And this already has the LS7 style lifters in them with the full bucket instead of just the edges. So I think I'll be right. I'm just gonna obviously, if it's ticking when I started, I'll replace them anyway, but I'm going to leave that. I'm just going to clean this a bit and chuck the new one on. $15, $16, $17, $18 foot. Clean this edge up. 24mm. Well, that's not going to come undone with this. Okay, the balancer bolt's really tight. So I've got a lever in there. And that on there. I'm going to try with the firearm again. The rattle gun's not going to cut it. Okay, that's tight as fuck and I can't get it undone. I'm just going to put the sump on for now and I'll replace that before it goes in the car. I'm replacing the seals behind it. Yeah, I just can't get it undone today. I'll get a better air compressor. We'll take it to work or something and use their one. And I'll get it undone. But yeah, today I'll just put the sump on. Place that later. Oh Jesus. I really hope this doesn't fall off the stand. It is just an eBay stand. Oh, Jim. So that's the old one. Look in there and it all looks good. It even says front on it, as in front of the engine. And the new oil pickup, we'll use that one and that one. I'll leave the bolts off of them, nuts off of them. Make sure that clicks in there. Okay, now before I tighten this end down, this is where this little piece comes in. So you see normally they only have one bolt that holds it, and over time it can pull up a little bit and you lose oil pressure. So this little plate just holds both sides of it. It would be easier to put in if I could have got the front plate off, but anyway, put this in, have two bolts in there and just clamp it nice and tight. Before you put the sump on, you've got to flip the engine back over and knock out that little Welsh plug in there, because the dipstick now doesn't go through the sump, it goes through the block. Next thing on is the mark adapter's sump, rear hump sump. Make sure there's nothing in there, like no dirt. Alright, don't need any silicone. You need silicone on those bits where it joins the rear plate and the front plate, but I'm going to be taking those off anyway and replace them later, and I'll put some silicone on them then when I put just the plates on. So now, just drop this on. Why not? Foord Offroad. Guarantee that's going to last all of half a second. Holy shit. Fuck me, that's heavy. Now I'm just going to chuck the Marks adapters engine mounts onto the block, and then I reckon I'll call it a day after that. I'm going to chuck these on there too, just finger tight, so that I can just pick it all up and lower it into the engine bay in the next video. And is that where I believe. So you got to put the engine in and out a couple of times to get these fitted. I've got to put the bell housing on the gearbox next after I clean the engine bay. And I've got to lower it in, line everything up, get it there, check that the engine's all level, tack this in place, pull the motor out, weld them in, put it back in, and yeah, mess around a bit. So I'm just going to leave them sitting like this so that I can just come on with the engine crane and pick her up. There is a fair bit of adjustability that I can adjust it that close in, that I can adjust it. Basically, that's probably about 70 mil of adjustment side to side once you've got it in the car. So it shouldn't be too bad. Pretty much put it where you want it, you just got to make sure that it's at the right level so your drive line angles are right and things like that. Anyway, I made a fair bit of progress today on the LS. I've still got to replace front and rear cover seals. Intake manifold gasket was wrong, so I've got to get another one. Having trouble getting the balance bolt undone. When I've got the engine test fitted in the vehicle, I'll chuck it in 4 low, get a real long bar and hang on that to get it loose, because yeah, my rattle gun's just not cutting it with that air compressor. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with today's progress anyway. So the next video will be either bodywork on the other side of the car, or putting this in for the test fit. Depends if I can get an engine crane or not. So yeah, thanks for watching, like and subscribe, and check out the rest of my videos. Come here, Zoe. This is Zoe. I don't think you've seen Zoe yet. This is Zoe, beautiful border collie. And here comes Ivor. Hey?